welcome everyone to another King's War Tournament Report. I'm Visibly Riley, and today we will continue walking through the Cascade Clash event I went to last weekend. Game 2 saw me playing against the Varangur with my Ogres, with an opponent named Brinley from Canada. He brought a pure Varangur list, and we ended up playing Dominate, which is pretty good for Ogres, honestly, so I was, I don't like to say like I'm looking forward to a matchup here, but this is about as good as it gets, I think. An elite army versus Ogres, where I outmatch him in the unit strength category, so pretty good. Anyway, here's his list, or a reasonable, approximation of it. He had a Horde of Warband, I think actually they might have had, excuse me, two-hand weapons, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So we have a Horde of Warband, we have a Regiment of Thralls with the Warbow of Kaba, we had a Horde of Fallen, a troop of Tundra Wolves, two regiments of Mounted Sons of Korgan, one had Fury, one had Caterpillar. We had a Horde of Direfang Riders with Fury, Magus Conclave with Elite, of course, King on Chimera with Brutal, or actually no, I think that's wrong, I think it also had Fury. And then a Scald with the Loot of Insatiable Darkness, a regiment of Snare Clan Poachers, and Magnilda of the Fallen. Now, this was a pretty standard Varangur list, in my opinion. I mean, it had all the, all the staples, had Fallen, had Mounted Sons, King on Chimera, Magus with Elite, like, that's all pretty normal stuff. The two units I'd never seen before are the Snare Clan Poachers, who seem like a pretty decent unit, kind of remind me of Rangers. And then we had Magnilda of the Fallen, who is honestly just sort of like a, like a Pazuzu for Varangur. So I'm not too surprised by this. I thought it was a pretty cool list, but anyway, I didn't think I would have much trouble with it. Well, not that I wouldn't have much trouble with it, but that it would be a favorable matchup, I guess is what I really mean. Here we see the end of Varangur turn 1. Sorry, this game doesn't have that many pictures, as we were playing in the fucking Shadow Realm, as in there wasn't a lot of light over here, so these pictures aren't great, and I didn't take that many of them. So, starting from left to right with the Ogres, a little off to the left we have the first Red Goblin Big Gate, who's behind a hill. Then next to him are the Boomers. You can sort of see that bit of a rock outcropping on the left there. That's actually a long wall that the Boomers were behind. Then we have the Horde of Warriors. Next to them is Grok in front of him, Grok's finest. The three regiments of Braves between them, the guy with the red banners, the Banner of the Griffin Warlock. Then we have Nomar. Behind them we have the second Red Goblin Big Git on Wolf, or on whatever it's called, on Wolf. Then we had the Warlock with the Loot behind Nomar there, the second unit of Boomers, and I think that's it. From left to right on the Varangur side, we see the Magus Conclave in the back there, with the Caterpillar Knights in front of him. That Shagoth model there is a stand-in for the Chieftain on Chimera, I believe. Then we have in the back the Tundra Wolves, right behind the Horde of Fallen. Next to them, onto the right, we had the Fury Mounted Sons, then the Dire Wolves, which are those Dragon Ogres. Then I think Snares are those Corsairs. Snares to Corsairs. The Warband in front of them, and the Thralls with the Warbow bringing up the right. And since this was Dominate, this table was actually pretty cool looking, in my opinion, as far as like a simple table goes. Right, it's ready for travel, and it matches one of the guys, actually Duncan, I believe, from my previous game. This is his Chaos Dwarf table, so there aren't too many good pictures of it, but a lot of the small details show off a Chaos Dwarf layer, so that was cool. But the setup left a little to be desired, as you can clearly see, there's a giant gaping hole with which we can just charge into the middle here. If I was playing a more shooting-oriented army, this would just be, I would just be having a heyday, right? Because there's that height 0 little bubbling pond of goo we have there in the middle, and we play those as flat terrain, so even lower than 0, so unless you're in them, you're not going to have cover. So a shooting army would just obliterate someone on this table. So I'm not a big fan. But anyway, yeah, my idea was that I would move to the center, let him run in as fast as he can, because he has to come fight me. He has very little shooting. I have a decent amount of Lightning Bolt, and then the Boomers. So my plan is to just sort of trick bits, or not trick, but give him charges of small amounts of my army so I can engage him piecemeal and then shoot the rest at my leisure. Yeah, here we see the left flank, everything but the Red Goblin Bigot, who's on the left over by that, slightly to the left of the boomers behind a hill, so the Magus Conclave can't shoot at him. Yeah, the idea here on the left flank was that I thought it was pretty much my strongest flank, and I would just move up, threaten his knights, and force these barriers to make it so he'd lose Thunderous and be -1 to hit, and then I can just countercharge him, or if he doesn't do it, I'll shoot him. So, seems pretty good. Yep, and this is the other flank, just with the boomers overseeing the table. Here's Ogre turn 1. I pretty much just moved my army forward a bit. The idea here, if you look at that, I moved my 2 bigots. One is threatening the Magus Conclave, but in reality, it's there, so if he moves the knights forward, which would be honestly a pretty bad idea, if he moves the knights forward into my charge range, I will charge him with my boomers and or warriors, whatever I can. But if he doesn't, I'm just going to roll that bigot in front of them and just skip fighting the Magus Conclave and gum up those knights for a turn, because I don't think it's all that important to kill that War Machine. The other Red Goblin Bigot, excuse me, walked in front of his Fallen, and the idea here, even though they're nimble, they can easily get around him. I don't want him charging into the left side of my board here. I want him to only have a charge on that middle unit of Braves, because it's also the only unit that I think the Mounted Sons of Korgan on the hill can reach. So yeah, that was my idea. Now I did make a mistake here because I consistently forget that Fallen are only height 1, which means that Magnilda, who is behind them right there, that winged old Games Workshop vampire model, it's as an aside, Brindley actually wrote a bunch of some stories, some lore for his army, and unfortunately I didn't get a chance to read it as the day wore on, it became increasingly obvious that I had a sinus infection, so I was actually sick at this event. So, yay me. So, anyway, I made a mistake here with his Magnilda, because I kind of forgot that the Fallen were height 1, so he can see over it and easily charge my Warlock with Banner of the Griffin. And had I been thinking a bit more about this, I would have just put it behind the Braves to block that line of sight, because all my Lightning Bolt was going into that Mounted Sun on the hill anyway, so it's irrelevant if I'm behind my Braves. Anyway, the idea here was that he can reach me with those knights on the left into my boomers behind the wall. If he takes that charge, he'll be -1 to hit. He will be -1 to hit, loses Thunderous, probably won't even waver them, but if he does, I have Grok there for rerolls, and then if he does end up getting that charge, I will either take the counter charge, or I will just charge in with my warriors, who can make pretty short work of knights. So I gave him that charge. Unlikely that he'll take it, but he can. And if he doesn't, I still have my breath attack, so I can just move forward and shoot if I want. And then in the middle, his Mounted Sons on the hill and his Fallen in front of that bigot can both make it to my middle unit of Braves, but not to either of the side units. And my idea was that he could charge in, kill my Braves, I don't really care, and then I will either take flank charges, or he'll take flank charges or front charges from a lot of units here. There's just no avoiding it if he goes into the middle. And the idea was that the Fallen, I don't think, can get out of line of sight for my finest Braves and Grok, while the Knights will probably take a charge from those Braves, or if that looks like it's not going to work, I'll just move the Braves out of the way and shoot, because I have 2 Drain Life, Nomar's Gun, and a unit of Boomers there. So that was the idea. And unfortunately I don't have another picture of his turn, but he does end up on turn 2 charging into that center with the Mounted Sons of Korgan and the Fallen. So he takes it, charges, gets it. Then the Knights on the left don't charge. They just everything's just sort of shimmies forward a little bit. I think his Lord on the Chimera angles a little bit into the woods so that he can see Grok, but is out of my charge range. So a bit of a mess up there for me, I think. But the bigger mess up happens in that I later measured Grok's line of sight, and if I had just tilted him a little bit, because why didn't I? But if I just tilted him a little bit more, he could have seen those Fallen to get that counter charge, but I just misplaced him, so not my best. Here we see the end of, or my Ogre turn 2. which is he moved his unit of cav into the woods, not trying to get cover, just making it so if my warriors charge, it's hindered. I moved the Red Goblin Big Git in front of them, thinking that I could block the charge. Then I have, I send the Braves that were in front of, the Finest into his Thunderwolves. Oh, I actually forgot to talk about that. His Thunderwolves charged into the Red Goblin Big Git, and with, 10 attacks, they, of course, killed the Goblin, proving that just dogs is better than a guy riding a dog. So I send my Braves in there, thinking that I can get some, easy points, easy 100 points, so I can get back on the board, and then I can also threaten either flank charging the direwolves if they don't move forward, or helping out against the King on Chimera, or the Knights if they choose to go into my warriors, or Grok. Then I forgot to mention that, McNilda charges into the Bane of the Griffin, waivers it, which, just a mistake on my part. Big mistake. I send Grok's Finest into the Fallen, so that's always good. But the other thing that happened was I sent nothing into his Knights, and decided instead that the Braves that were right there ready to flank charge, he angled toward them so they'd be in the front. I just moved them out of the way and just spam Drain Life and the Boomers into him. So that was a good idea. As you can see, I easily wipe out those Mounted Suns. I think I put 8 wounds with the Boomers alone, so I didn't even need to Drain Life. Instead, I put all my Drain Life into the Fallen to, I don't know if I had any, I did try to heal up my other wizard, but only, obviously I only had 1 Drain Life that turn, so I did try to heal some of the wounds off that Magnilda did, because I think she rolled 7 hits, 7 out of 7 hits, so I took a bit of damage there. On the right here, you can see a bit of it, but my Braves actually went over and they went into the Warband, and this was another mistake. I should have just moved them so they were blocking the Warband from being able to charge the Boomers, and that if they charged me, they would take a hindered charge, because hindered brutes or Braves just don't do anything. They only hit on 5s. I should have just used them a bit better, accepted that he could charge me with the Direwolves and or the Warband and kill him, so whatever, who cares, that's what Braves are for. The bigger disappointment is that not only did my Braves not kill the Direwolves that they charged, or Thunderwolves that they charged, the Grok's Finest put the Fallen on double ones, and of course, Snake Eyes did. Oh, that's really, really, really bad, because that means that not only can the Fallen still charge me, but they can combo charge along with the Direwolves, and I'm going to lose my best combat unit right here, and just all out of position. Terrible, terrible thing to happen. This is just showing off. That was the 11 wounds. That I know I caused more than that. There must be a die missing or something, or off picture. But yeah, I definitely had him on doubles, or a 3 to kill, not doubles always. So what is that? They're a 16-18, so I put 15 wounds on him. Those black dice in the background, that's what he's rolling to hit. The blue dice are wounds, so I did nothing to the King on the Chimera. So don't worry about that. And yeah, this is the end of Varangur turn 3. He double charges with the Direwolves and the Fallen because they're not shaken into my Grok's Chosen, and had the Fallen roll lights out. It was bad. they rolled a lot of hits, a lot of damage, and just wreck Grok's Finest. That's really, really, really bad. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do here because he has the center. I haven't done any damage yet. It's gonna be rough. He also gets a pretty decent charge with the King of Chimera into Grok. That's a bit dicier, I think, because he has 12 attacks. He hits on 3s, right? So he can get like 9 in, fails 2 wounds, fails 1 wound, because I think he's vicious. So he does like 9 wounds. That's a lot. So he could pretty easily waiver Grok, but if he doesn't, Grok will just wreck him. So I thought that was a good charge by my opponent, especially as with the Fallen taking a double 1, he has the center. So it's the time to take risks to try to press that advantage. So, yeah, he gets that. The Thunderwolves charge into my Braves and kill them again. So now they have killed one of my big Gits and a regiment of Braves just by existing. My opponent is rolling very well right now, and I'm not rolling all that poorly. I just rolled 1 double 1s, and that's sometimes that's what it takes in King's War. I think Magnilda. I don't think. Oh, I think she charged in with the direwolves and these guys into the direwolves and the fallen into Grok's finest to just make sure they went away. So I think that's what she did. Smart move. Over here we see, yeah, he hit me with the warbow, causing 1 wound. So that was funny. Not super useful, but funny. And yeah, he ends up getting 10 wounds on Grok, which is yikes. So yeah, Grok gets wavered, which is very unfortunate. It means I can't really do a whole lot. On my turn, I charge the warriors. That is not a they're not getting reared by those knights. I just they don't fit well. So yeah, my warriors charge into his knights. They are hindered, so that's unfortunate. But I need to get something going. I move the boomers forward to shoot at his king on Chimera because they don't really have a whole lot else to do. Hoping to get a lucky boxcar for the waiver. I send my Goblin Bigot up there in the left-hand corner into the Magus Conclave because why not at this point? Who cares? I mean, not as in like the game is over, as in there's nothing else for him to do right now. He might as well just turn off that shooting because it could get really bad as Grok is likely to die, so I'm going to lose my Inspiring. I need to make sure that I don't just take pip damage to die. And yeah, here is here is the end of Varangur turn 4. Or no. This is just Varangur turn 4 movement, I think. And I think what he's showing me here is his movement paths with the Thunderwolves and with the Direwolves to make sure that they can go in. I did actually get, I moved forward with Nomar and with the Drain Life Warlock. I Drain Life the Forsaken, get 2 wounds or whatever onto them and kill them that time because I didn't roll double 1s, but it's a little too late there, I think. I did position my units, so Nomar is better protected than the other Warlock because he doesn't matter as much. Nomar did end up trying to heal Grok, I want to say there, and missing, so very unfortunate. Oh, no, I didn't try to heal Grok, that's right. I put Crushing Strength, or tried to put Crushing Strength onto my warriors, and I missed that as well. So, pretty unfortunate rolling here. Yet here we see my warriors. This, I think, is actually Ogre turn 5. I think we skip Varangur turn 5. Yeah, he sends the Chieftain into Grok, easily kills him. Sends Magnilda into my boomers, hits with all 7 attacks again, but only puts 3 wounds on him. So, it's pretty unfortunate because Magnilda has only taken 3 damage, and the boomers, I mean, they could. She's a dash 15, though, so they've only got 18 attacks on 4s and 4s, so not the best odds. My warriors do go back into the knights and wipe them out, so that's good. But unfortunately, the Thunderwolves continue their rampage, and they charge into, I think, Nomar and kill him, while the Direwolves charge into my my other Warlock and kill him. My Goblin did end up wounding. You can see it up there. He has put 5 wounds on the Magus Conclave, but I don't kill it, so that's unfortunate as well. Over here, yeah, this is the Thunderwolves going into Nomar. Excuse me. He is not long for this world. And this is just showing off Magnilda's fight, I think. It looks like, actually, I was wrong. The Thunderwolves didn't kill Nomar and just walk over here. Oh, no, I know what happened. The Thunderwolves moved forward. Nomar charged them and failed. He puts 2 wounds on him, doesn't kill him. And this is after, on the right-hand side, which there are no pictures of it, because what ended up happening is the Thralls charged my boomers and killed them on boxcars. And then everything moves over here, so pretty unfortunate. Sorry, on turn 2, this warband, if you're really hungry for it, yeah, they easily killed that Brave regiment on the countercharge, but that's to be expected. He sends the Direwolves into the front of my warriors. They were trapped there by his Chimera, so they only clip me. Then he sends the Chimera into the boomers, along with Magnilda. I think she charged the boomers as well to help him out. His BSB gets Crushing Strength, I think, onto the Dire Fangs to get the 2s. And yeah, everything else just moves forward. I don't even think he's fired the bows. I don't think he fired the bows at all with Scar this game because just everything was dying to lights out charges. So not necessary. Yeah, it looks like this is the last slide. I do get entirely tabled. He kills that last goblin. Oh no, he does shoot the bows. He shoots his bows at that goblin bigot up in the left-hand corner, kills it. The dire wolves easily kill my warriors. I think they only miss with 3 attacks, so pretty ridiculous. Magnilda hits with all 7 her attacks. She missed 0 times this game. The chieftain actually doesn't roll that well, but with Magnilda hitting all her attacks, he doesn't need to. And they kill the boomers. Yeah, Nomar gets rear charged by that warband. I don't even think I made him roll it, because yeah, that's, what, 72 attacks? Or 75 attacks? Yeah. So, yeah, I got entirely tabled this game. Easy victory for the Varangur. I don't know really what my takeaway. I did make some small mistakes, like I said, with the Braves. I shouldn't have charged. I should have just sat there and taken it and tried to go for the counter charge, because it really all I needed was to block him from moving, and I didn't need to be so aggressive with my wizards, considering I was going for lightning bolts, not drain lives just yet. But it's an easy mistake to make, I think, as a fresher player, newer player, to forget that Fallen are only height 1. So I'm not gonna beat myself up about that. The rest of this game was, just hot dice, and then rolling. You know, it just shows off what happens when you roll a double 1. You know, it can just be disaster. So, yeah, it's the end of Game 2. Easy victory for Varangur, and I am sitting on, I think that was an 18-2, either an 18-2 or 17-3. So I'm either sitting on 17 or 18 points out of a possible 40. Hope you like it. If you saw anything that I didn't, please feel free to leave your comment. Thanks for watching, everybody.